welcome to Valley Newsline for the week of November 19th, 2006. Hello, I'm your host, Ron Whitlaw, coming to you today from San Benito, and we have with us on the program the newly elected Republican Cameron County Judge, Carlos Cascos. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Judge-elect of Cameron County. Wherever you live, if you lived in South Texas, there was an earthquake on Election Day because the longtime Cameron County Judge, Gilberto Hinojosa, was thrown out of office by the voter, and it was turned over to not only a new county judge, one who had run against him before, but a Republican, taking us back 20 years ago when Tony Garza was elected Cameron County Judge as a Republican. And I understand that along with the earthquake that was going on in the Rio Grande Valley, Judge-elect Cascos, the governor's mansion was somewhat abuzz on election night about what was going on in deep South Texas, deep Democrat South Texas.
Yes, it was. It was. I had numerous calls that day from the governor's staff wondering what was going on down here. And keep in mind that Governor Perry also won Cameron County, albeit by less than 1,000 votes, but that was also historic.
I think Senator Hutchison, based on my recollection of looking at the numbers on the front page of the Valley Morning Star, carried Cameron County. Is that what you recall also?
Senator Hutchison has always done well in Cameron County. She's obviously a fine senator, and and the voters keep putting her in, and I'm just tickled pink.
Now later in the program, we're going to have 6-year member of the Commissioner Court in Brownsville, Cameron County, David Garza, who represents this area, San Benito Harlingen region in particular, and he's going to be on the next segment of our program, so stay tuned. He's going to give us the perspective of being a Democrat now serving with a Republican, and how close of buddies they're going to be able to be even though they're representing different parties. Now, Carlos, what do you think was the reason that you won the election? Was it really everybody excited about your candidacy and loving you, which I'm sure a lot of your supporters do, or do you think it was more of an anti-Gilberto Hinojosa and time for a change reaction on the part of the voter?
I think it was a combination of things. Obviously, the latter, I think, was probably the more prevalent. I believe people were just ready for a change. When most people run, people normally vote against something or somebody versus voting for them. And I think it was just a combination of things that happened. The timing was right. I think the issues hit home with a lot of folks, and I think they were ready for a change. And anytime someone stays in office for that long, you're bound to upset some folks and make some wrong decisions, and that just eventually that's going to catch up to you.
Last time we had you on the program, it was in studio, and you explained to me during that taping that you really felt at ease about it all. You were leaving it up to the will of the people and the will of your God, and it was going to happen, it's going to happen. If it was time for this to occur and you to be the fiduciary representative from the people, get in to serve them at this point in time, that would happen.
That's exactly what happened. I was very calm during this race. I think people were asking me, why I was so calm. I just kind of put it in the hands of God, and I did what I had to do. I worked hard. I did some unorthodox things like standing on street corners, which I'm still doing, thanking people, by the way. I block walked by myself. I phoned people. We had a little phone bank made up of my sister, myself, basically, and calling folks every night. And it was a truly a grassroots effort. But my hat's off to everybody that went out to vote, whether they voted for me or not. I plan to represent everybody, 100% of Cameron County, regardless of what their party affiliation is or is not.
We're going to be getting into later on in the discussion with you and Commissioner Garza about what do you vision now for the future of the county and the future of the court, and what you're wanting to try and do as it relates to changing, because that's what the people said they wanted, was a change when they voted for you. So on that basis, what vision do you have for the change on the court?
Well, obviously, we have a lot of challenges that are in front of us. One of them, obviously, that I've spoken about frequently is the budgetary issue. I think the county has got some financial problems, and you really don't know until you close the books out. And I know that some people may think I'm detail oriented, but I am detail oriented.
You're a CPA.
I'm a CPA,
That's what CPAs are. They're black and white people,
you know,
detail oriented, right?
Well, we're bean counters, so to speak, you know, and I do count beans. You know, I think it's important. I think that it all starts with finances. You cannot undertake any project, you can't do anything in this county or anywhere else, even in business, unless you got your finances in order.
Well, beans are represented by the dollars that the people of Cameron County send in as they pay their taxes, whatever means that they do. And so those beans come from the voter, the taxpayer, and they go into the coffer of the county. And so they've got to be counted. And really, you know.
Well, the bottom line, you know, they've got to be dispersed appropriately. I think you know, we've had some tremendous budgetary overruns. And just in the last fiscal year alone was almost $2 million. And you can go to the financials and look at where.
Does that mean
where
the county's
happened.
running in the black when you say fiscal overruns? Does that mean the county
What
is
happened?
running in the red or the
No.
or the black?
In 2005, which was the last official document that we have, the court throughout the year ended up adopting a deficit budget of almost $2 million, and expenditures were higher than actual.
Deficit meaning running in the red.
Well, they ran the red. Yeah, they had to.
Are they going to have to borrow from some sort?
Well,
they
they borrowed from their surplus.
or slow pay vendors or whatever.
No, they borrowed from their fund balance. They borrowed from this, and you can see it very clearly if you look at the report.
Now, one of the reasons you ran against Judge Hinojosa, you didn't like the way things were going.
You know,
fiscally?
I voted. Yeah, exactly. I voted against the budget
So what are you
many,
going to do
many
about
times.
it? Once you get in, and books are closed. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I think before you have to kind of do some preventive medicine. I think that we need to start our budgetary process in April or May of every year. We start talking to department heads. Everyone's going to have a wish list. We need to spend within our means. We need to make sure that every dollar we spend is spent, I guess, appropriately, efficiently. Commissioner Garza has always been a fiscal conservative, and I look forward to working with him. Commissioner John Wood is a fiscal conservative, and but then again, I'm looking forward to working with them and making sure that we get county finances back in order.
Are you pleased with the appointment that Judge Gilberto Hinojosa has made of Sofia Benavides to replace her deceased husband, Pete?
Well, I've known Sophie for a long, long time. We went to school together. I went to the high school with Pete as well. I think she's going to represent her constituency very, very well. She's a fine lady, and I think it was a good appointment.
Additionally, as far as trying to get the county on a new direction, you've indicated also that you really have a concern about trying to make sure that the county is prepared for any flood condition, which is going to be part and parcel to floodwaters coming down the Arroyo Colorado, floodwaters coming down the Rio Grande River, heading for Cameron County, because we've had a major rain event of some sort, South Texas, northern Mexico, tropical storm, maybe not tropical storm. Last time we had a major levee failure in Hidalgo County. It wiped out and caused many people to have to be evacuated from their homes, residences, old folks' homes, and retirement centers in Harlingen, your district, your precinct, because a levee failed in Hidalgo County. Now, Hidalgo County has funded a $100 million bond. That's going to take many years, however, to get those levees improved to hopefully protect Brownsville, Lower Cameron County, Mid Cameron County, Harlingen, San Benito area. What do you plan to try and do to get some dollars, federal dollars, county dollars, get moving to clean the levee systems out, clean the floodway systems, and make sure we're ready for the future?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Hidalgo County for passing that bond issue. It was a great initiative on their leadership. It's something that was sorely needed. That, believe it or not, will help us too. That drainage system, if once improved, will alleviate some of the problems that we might have. Some of the issues that we've got, I've spoken to some of the leadership in Washington already. We need to start working towards getting anywhere from $175 to $200 million to start addressing the levee system all along the border. That's something that we have to do, and I believe that with the leadership that's there, I think I made a comment to somebody or you the other day, if they can find $700 million for a wall, certainly they can find $200 million for a levee system.
And $20 billion being spent now on Katrina-related problems related to a levee failure in New Orleans. If $500 million had been spent in New Orleans, the $20 billion wouldn't be being spent now.
That's correct, and I think you pay now or pay later, and I think that it's up to the Commissioner's Court to convince our leadership in Washington that it's an investment, and we have to sell it that way. This is an investment in terms of not only saving future dollars, but also saving people's livelihoods. So we're going to work real hard together as a team to go up to Washington and start addressing the levy system, maybe as a special appropriation in this coming session.
And I'm sure you're going to have a big pachanga after you are sworn in? Yes
Well,
or no?
Possibly.
Governor Perry going to come? Yes or no?
It depends.
Talked to him yesterday. What did he say?
He said that if the Aggies make it to a bowl game on January 1st, he's not going to be here. And I don't blame him.
But otherwise, he will come.
Otherwise, he'll be here.
Wow. Do you think your election had anything to do with him appointing you, a Democrat at the time, to probably the most powerful commission, the DPS commission in Austin?
Well, it sort of didn't hurt. I don't know. That's why he did it. He didn't do it for that reason.
There was no quid pro quo understanding you were going to run for county judge?
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't encourage me to run for county judge or to even switch parties, quite frankly.
That's the truth. It's la vida da, as they say.
That's the truth, and I would swear under oath.
So what are some of the things that you and Commissioner Gardner are going to be working on as you go to try and reinvent and restructure and move in a different direction?
I tell you, I'm looking forward to it. It was a pleasure working with David for those first couple of years, and I'm just looking forward to it. But his issues are probably different than mine. I think with transportation, with the railroad relocation projects that are ongoing, Commissioner Gatz has been intimately aware and involved in these endeavors, and I'm going to look to him and some other members of the court to help me out through this transitional period.
Has there been a situation of it's Brownsville voting, the commissioners for the Brownsville area predominantly, well, that's more the population, not working with the northern part of the county? Has that been a situation historically within and on the commissioners' court within county government?
I think it's again, we go back to perceptions, and I think that's been the case for a long, long time. I think it's somewhat been diluted. We have to understand that when we run as a precinct commissioner, we get elected by a certain segment of the population. But at the same time, the district is Cameron County as well. So I'm not going to favor any specific area. It's whatever's good for this county is what I'm going to focus on. And I've said this before.
A lot of your votes come from Harlingen?
I don't know. I have not looked at.
Didn't look at that.
I have not looked at those numbers. They have not canvassed the votes, as far as I know. Someone told me yesterday that they believe that I won almost every precinct. I'm not sure. I have not seen that. But that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where all the votes came from. I mean, they're all equally. They should all be equally represented.
Well, that's what the judge should do, because the judge's constituency is the entire county and county boundary lines.
That's
north,
correct.
south, east, and west.
That's correct. I mean, I'm going to go by and see the folks, not only that did support me, but those that did not support me, and ask them, what I can do for them to help them.
Time for healing. Are you excited about having your former colleague on the court now come in, but fill the position of the CEO of the county government and gavel in charge and running the meetings?
I am looking forward to Carlos coming on board. We've had a good relationship in the past, even before I was on the commission with him. And I'm looking forward to working with him on projects, to moving the county forward and doing what's in the best interest of the constituency of this county.
Are you going to be appealing and holding your hand out to the new member of the court, Sophia Benavides, also, as she comes on board? This is an opportunity with another vote on the court, which may not totally be voting the way that they voted in the past, which you were, in some cases, not too happy with.
I think Sophia Benavides is going to be an excellent commissioner. I have no reason to believe that she's not going to do what is best for the constituency of this county. I think she's a compassionate person that can bring a lot to the table, and I look forward to working with her. I've expressed that to her yesterday already, congratulated her, and I'll be there Saturday to make sure that she knows that our support is there for her, because as a new commissioner, I know how it feels when you first start, on your job.
Now, her coming on board and her appointment would not have happened had it not been for the choice, and the choice to be made was that of Gilberto Hinojosa, the outgoing judge.
Right.
Did he make the right choice rather than appointing his wife in particular? That was a rumor going around the community that he would appoint his wife rather than Pete's wife or himself, if that were potentially a legal possibility. Did he do a good thing in leaving the court with her serving?
I think he did the best thing he could have done.
So you salute him for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The transportation item that Carlos Cascos just mentioned, is that very, very important? I mean, why, or the fact that those of us who shop in Harlingen and yourself driving around stop by trains all the time and they're somewhat unsafe in the community, is that really still a big issue on the part of the voter?
The rail relocation is a
Yes.
critical issue. As a matter of fact, there's discussions that have been ongoing. We have worked very diligently in both the rail relocation in Brownsville and the rail relocation in Harlingen. We have been able to get some federal funding for these projects through our both Cornyn and Hutchison. Been very helpful. Ortiz, of course, and Hinojosa have been very helpful for us in Cameron County in getting that funding. Projects are well underway. I believe now that it's going to be easier to approach some of these folks because with Carlos's influence that he has with them, the doors are going to open wider
Influence
for
being
him.
a Republican.
Influence being a Republican. Transportation and mobility are critical issues for us. One of the most important things that I have been involved with has been the I-37 issue and the extension of I-37 from Corpus Christi all the way to the Port of Brownsville. We hope to have an announcement very shortly into the new year from TxDOT as to what they're going to do with that. We were very involved as a coalition from Cameron County in getting resolutions supporting that extension from Corpus down to Brownsville, which included every county and every city between here and Corpus in favor of that. If there's one thing that I've been involved with, I think that will have the most impact for South Texas in general, it will be the I-37 project, which Rick Perry, last December the 3rd at a meeting in Austin said, I want to get the interstate to South Texas by next year. I think we'll now have a real good reason to live up to those expectations in a bigger way.
As we segue out into the next segment with outgoing Judge Gilberto Hinojosa, publicly, outgoing Judge Hinojosa has indicated there's going to be a smooth transition. What do you anticipate? Do you think the judge is going to be a man of his word?
I have no reason to believe that it will not be a smooth transition. I think that Gilberto Hinojosa realizes that it would be in his best interest to do certain things in the meantime to set up himself into doing what's right for the constituency of this county, into making sure that whoever comes in and takes over can just flow into that position, take over, and move the projects forward, because a lot of the things that Carlos will be working on are things that we've been working on already. But what I'm going to ask Carlos Cascos to do, Judge-elect Cascos, is I want him to sit down with our transportation department. To me, that is the most critical infrastructure issue that we have in our county, transportation.
Thank you, Judge-elect Cascos.
Thank you, Ron.
Commissioner David Garza, thank you both
Thank
for being
you.
on the program. Welcome to the program, Judge Gilberto Hinojosa. It's kind of sad to consider that you're no longer going to be the judge to some people. The media you've had a good relationship with. This reporter you've had a good relationship with. Things change. You told me when you were running against Carlos Casas the first time and you won and he lost that you were placing it in the hands of the Lord. And did this happen on this occasion, or what do you think?
Oh no. I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, and I know that whatever happens, God has His hand on it, and God decided that it wasn't time for me to be county judge anymore. So
High praise from both incoming county judge Carlos Cascos, from Commissioner David Garza in the earlier two segments of our program, Judge. High praise for what you've done in appointing. It was your call. You could have appointed your wife. You could have appointed anybody else who supported you during your campaign. And the attitude of these two individuals, Garza and Cascos, and the community at large, is that you've done the right thing in appointing Pete Benavides' wife, Sophie.
well, I hope they support her when she runs for election. Well, it was not a difficult decision to make. I mean, Pete and Sophie were a team. I mean, they were always together. I remember every time I have lunch with Pete, Sophie was there, and Sophie had been his right hand in almost every endeavor he engaged in, and she was his political director, manager, whatever, when he would run. She was a person that he would bounce things off all the time when decisions had to be made. She was his soulmate in every sense of the word. And I
So you
think
see her as being her own commissioner. You don't see her as being your commissioner, your
No.
person. That she's going to be calling you for advice. You're not going to be your vote on the court. None of that. That's
I'm not.
good.
I'm not going to be around. If someone wants to call me and ask me for advice, that's fine. But I'm not going to be looking to assert my positions on the county. I think, I was there for 12 years. We did a lot of good things. I believe that, Cameron County is a different place today than what it was when I came into it. I mean, we took a county that was a small rural county, made into an urban county government that works for the people of Cameron County. And it's been transformed. I mean, I think you could see it in everything you see with respect to county government. It works much more efficiently. It works much more effectively, and it is able to fill the gaps. At least under my administration, fill the gaps that exist out there, provide the support to the cities, to business, to the academic community. To make
Most
sure-
proud of the Oscar Nancy building, or some
Well,
of the
I mean, a lot of projects. I think most proud of, I believe, is the transformation of the county government to make it a more professional government that operates the way a city or a business operates. I'm proud of the Los Tomates Bridge. I was hoping that we could finally implement the railroad relocation project. I think that's already done. It's just, we need to finalize, get the diplomatic notes.
Transition-wise, you've indicated publicly you're going to work with coming in Judge Carlos Cascos. When do you plan to meet with him to start that transition?
What I'm doing right now is I'm putting into place everything so that when I leave, it's an easy transition for him. We're not going to, we're not going to leave him a messy house. We're going to leave him a neat house that he can walk into and engage in the issues that are important to the county.
What do you think cost you the election? Was it the Isla Blanca Park converting into a casino project?
No,
Potentiality you supported? Conrado Cantu
I think
Alliance?
I think if our polling showed us relatively far ahead up until the last 2 weeks of the election, when he started with a really, really strong negative campaigning that focused on Conrado Cantu. I mean, if you saw the ads, the TV ads particularly, I mean, he made it look like I was part of Conrado Cantu's criminal enterprise.
You categorically deny you were involved with that in any way?
I mean, I think there's no question that no one, including myself, knew that this man was engaged in this criminal enterprise. I mean, we found out early on that he was incompetent, and we took care of that. We took away most of the jails from him. But for us to have even for 1 second believed that this guy was going to do this is absurd. And what I tell people is, look, Carlos Cascos was a member of the DPS Commission. The Texas Rangers were investigating simultaneously with the FBI. The Texas Rangers were investigating Conrado Cantu. If anybody knew that Conrado Cantu was into drugs, it was the Texas Rangers. And if they knew, then don't you think that the commissioner of DPS knew? Now,
Their ultimate boss.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not saying that Carlos knew, because I don't believe that he knew. If he did know, then it raises a lot of questions as to why he was asking Conrado Cantu to support him for this election. But that's a different issue. The point I'm making is that if he didn't know, then how was I going to know? How was I going to know? I mean, he betrayed me, but he betrayed all the voters of Cameron County. And it's sad that Carlos just, took this issue and twisted it and labeled me almost as a criminal, I mean, he was talking about, the corruption in the county courthouse, but look who he associated with himself with in this campaign. I mean, he had TV Valencia right next to him in half the election, a convicted felon, a person who was convicted of violating the public trust. I mean, why was TV Valencia all of a sudden part of the Carlos Cascos campaign? Did Carlos promise him a pardon from Perry? I hope not. I think the people of Cameron County would be really upset if they knew that promise had been made. He had Chris Valadez. He's going to hire him as a staff person. Chris Valadez was Conrado Cantu's first lieutenant in his campaigns in Brownsville. And he had him right next to him. And I can go through a whole host of people. Robert Sanchez. In the picture in the paper, it was Robert Sanchez, who was Conrado Cantu's partner in a restaurant that a lot of questions were raised about. And the other guy in the picture next to it was Justin Ramos on the same day Justin Ramos gets indicted. I mean, it was absolute hypocrisy for him to take this issue of Conrado Cantu and try to turn me into some kind of a corrupt person when he surrounded himself with people who were either corrupt or who had ties to the Conrado Cantu administration. And he was able to sell that to the voters of Cameron County.
Why didn't you come back with this information prior to Election Day as opposed to on this program after you've lost?
Because that's not my style. I mean, that's not the way I do business. I mean, I came to the voters in this election and I said, look, you saw me for 12 years. You know what I did in 12 years. I thought that if people saw what we had done and that we made a commitment to continue to do that for the next 12 years, then people would say, well, that's the right thing. And I didn't really believe that he was going to make this issue of Conrado Cantu stick on me, because everybody knew that, there was no association in terms of what he did between him and me, and that a lot of people supported Conrado Cantu, and he even went to Conrado Cantu and asked him for support. And so, it happened. I mean, it was a misjudgment on my part in the campaign, but I'm not sure there's anything I could have done about that. Once you say what you're going to say and you say it over and over and over, then people are going to believe it. And they did. Enough people believed it to change, to change, I think, the direction of the election. I mean, he did make history. He made history of running the most negative campaign I think anybody's ever seen in history, and it worked. And my hat's off to him in that respect. But I don't think there's any question that the level of lies and misrepresentations that he engaged in were unprecedented, and they resulted to a large extent in convincing enough voters to go the other way, who our polling had showed early on were more than likely going to vote for me.
Outgoing Cameron County Judge, Democrat Gilberto Hinojosa, Republican moving in. The governor's office very watchful of the election results coming in here in Lower Rio Grande Valley, because obviously a staunch Democrat yourself being replaced by a Republican who left your party, the Democrat Party, and coming into the county judge's office. So what's next for Gilberto Hinojosa? Run against Solomon Ortiz for Congress? Run against Carlos Cascos when his term ends? What do you think?
No, I mean, I'm not looking at any races. What I'd like to do more than anything else is continue to work with the Democratic Party and build it in this state to make sure that we follow the direction that this nation is going in. I mean, I don't think Rick Perry has a lot to be happy about. I mean, this is a 6-year governor that won re-election with 39% of the vote. I'd be pretty embarrassed about that if I were him. I think that there's a movement in the state to change the way the state has been in the past in terms of Republican leadership. And
You think Commissioner Judge-elect Cascos coming in as a Republican might be able to help convince his party now, because he has direct lines to TxDOT, Rick Williamson, to the governor, to get some of those things changed and going in another direction?
I mean, he may or may not have the influence to do that. I think, Carlos got elected because of Conrado Cantu. Any Democrat besides Gilberto Hinojosa would have beat him in the election. This is a Democratic county. It will remain a Democratic county. It will remain a Democratic county after I leave office.
Thank you for joining us here on Valley Newsline. Thank you for joining us, Judge Gilberto Hinojosa. Till next time, adios.